Liverpool is a city in Merseyside, England, on the eastern side of the Mersey estuary. Historically part of Lancashire, Liverpool's urbanization and expansion were largely brought about by its status as a major port, which included its participation in the Atlantic slave trade. Liverpool was the port of registry of the ill-fated ocean liner, the RMS Titanic, and many other Cunard and White Star ocean liners, such as RMS Lusitania, Queen Mary, and Olympic. Several areas of Liverpool city centre were granted World Heritage Site status by UNESCO in 2004, and the world-famous Grand National takes place annually at Aintree Racecourse on the outskirts of the city. Welcome on board Ambassador Ambition, the British premium value cruise line. You join us here on our Icelandic discovery. We start our journey on embarkation, where you will be greeted and welcomed by our staff. You will then proceed to grab keycard and then to our friendly staff at the check-in counter. Don't forget to stop off for a quick photo opportunity to mark the beginning of your cruise. It's now time to set sail and make way to its first port of call, Runavík. first day at sea, our entertainment hosts will delight you with lots of activities on board like the vignette. Our talented executive chef demonstrates the arts of making curries on board, also allowing our guests to sample his work as well.
Wonderful that we do keep this tradition ongoing on board. A chance for you to meet the master, his senior officers and heads of department. We'll then head on through here, but now a chance for you to meet the master. So Palladium Theatre, please put your hands together for the master of ambition, Captain Taras.
Mana. Day and night behind the scene. So instead, let me introduce you the officers of ambition. Ladies and gentlemen, and now it's time for our traditional toast. Please rise up your glasses. Let your joy will be as deep as an ocean and your trouble as light as its foam. Cheers. Bon voyage.
Ladies and gentlemen, as they leave the stage, let's hear it once again for our master, his senior officers and heads of department.
Today, 8th of May 2025, our Ambassador Ambition arrives in the port of Runavík. Leaving Runavík behind, you will travel north along the shores of the Fjord. A short photo stop will be made overlooking Nordskala before continuing across the narrow channel of the Atlantic Ocean that separates Eysturoy and the island of Streymoy via the Nordskala Bridge. You will be given the option to walk over the bridge if you wish. Depending on the currents and the tides, you might be fortunate to see the eddies that form at the base of the bridge. Here, you will visit Stavanger, an old tuff-roofed farmhouse, now a National Heritage Museum, which offers an insight to past rural life in the Faroes. It's a well-preserved and typical example of the Faroese farmhouse of any period from medieval times through the end of the 19th century. On display are many interesting old domestic utensils, household objects and furniture. The local people have managed to retain many of the characteristics and values of the old established life of subsistence farming, fishing, and hunting. On the next trip, you will visit the island's southernmost settlement, Kirkjubor. During the Middle Ages, Kirkjubor was the ecclesiastical and cultural center of the Faroes. This is where the bishop's residence was until the Reformation, when the Faroese diocese was abolished. You will see the imposing ruins of St. Magnus Cathedral, which still dominates the site. The Roystockvan, standing on the wide stone foundation of a portion of the bishop's palace, has been home to the farmers of Kirkjubor for centuries and occupied by the same Faroese family for 17 generations. Covered with a traditional tuff roof, it's a large building made of logs thought to have drifted all the way from Norway some 700 years ago. The farmhouse interior reflects the lifestyle of large Faroese farm. Your final stop will be in Tórshavn for a visit to Tinganes, the old part of the city. The name means Parliament Jetty, and it is the headquarters of the Faroese government around the year 900. It was here that the Viking Parliament first began meeting every summer to discuss matters of national importance. the evening, our entertainment host showcased a vignette commemorating V-Day. Today, 9th of May, our Ambassador Ambition arrives in Klaksvik. Your experience began with a journey through the visit a traditional sheep house to meet a local farmer who will tell you all about sheep farming, whilst being able to see his flock up close with demonstrations. Here, you will get a small taste of the Faroese dry meat and be able to try some local rhubarb refreshments. You will also visit Naviayan, a Faroese producer of woolen clothing, where modern design are combined with the age-old methods and traditions, leading each piece a unique character and highest quality. The resort is rewarding both as comfortable clothing and original leisure wear. Your next destination is the village of Gotha, a place of great importance in the history of the Faroe Islands. One of the key figures of this region, called Tunda Godskeg, lived here. Tunda was a heathen Viking chief who once ruled all the island. He defended the old Viking ways against the desire of the Norwegian king and the Faroese chieftain Sigmudu Bresiston to convert the Faroese to Christianity. Following this, a visit to the Blasastova Museum will give you an insight into the culture and way of life in the Faroes in the past centuries. Your guide will provide you with an overview of the museum along with some free time to explore independently. After exploring in Klaksvik, it's time for Ambassador Ambition to sail away to the next port of call, Reykjavik. Another day at sea where Ambassador Ambition commemorates V-Day. Our entertainment team celebrates with sing-along with our guests in the cavern. Today, 11th of May, our Ambassador Ambition arrives in Reykjavik for an overnight stay. Lying on the constantly active geologic border between North America and Europe, Iceland is a land of vivid contrasts of climate, geography, and culture. Sparkling glaciers such as Ventana Glacier, Europe's largest, lie across its ruggedly beautiful mountain ranges. Abundant hot gases provide heat for many of the country's homes and buildings and allow for hothouse agriculture year-round. And the Oasho Gulf Stream provides a surprisingly mild climate for what is one of the northernmost inhabited places on the planet. Reykjavik is the capital and largest city of Iceland. Your journey continues across the impressive volcanic plateau of Reykjanes before arriving in Nordvik for a visit to the Viking World Museum. Viking World has a number of exhibitions about Norse settlement in Iceland. Learn about the Vikings of the North Atlantic and see a seaworthy replica of Islendal, the Islander, the Viking ship that was discovered in Norway in 1182. Your journey continues to the next stop, the bridge between the continents, a symbolic footbridge where you can walk between the Eurasian and the North America tectonic plates. The continuous drift of the two plates is the main cause of Iceland's high volcanic activity. Enjoy some free time to stretch your legs and stroll across the bridge. Following this, you will visit the Reykjanes Lighthouse. Walk up to the hill on which the lighthouse stands to enjoy a 360-degree panoramic views of the surrounding landscape that has been shaped by volcanic eruption and violent movements of the earth. Within sight of the lighthouse, you will make your stop for a visit to the geothermal site, Ganova. Explore the geothermal field where jets of steam escape from below the Earth's crust and pools of boiling mud bubble and pop continuously. trip will bring you to the Thingvellir National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Thingvellir is situated in a rift valley that offers views of the Reykjanes Ridge. This is the only place in the world where the mild Atlantic Ridge, which separates the Eurasian and North American plates, is above sea level. Not only is Thingvellir a tremendous geological interest, but it's also regarded by Icelanders as a sacred place, as it is where the legislative parliament, the Althing, was founded in the year AD 930. Symbolically, it's also considered to be the place where the settlers of Iceland became a unified nation and where some of the nation's most important historical events unfolded. Following your walk through the part of Thingvellir, your journey continues to Gullfoss Waterfall. The Golden Waterfall is the most famous of the country's numerous waterfalls. Here, a huge amount of water rushes down a stone cascade into a deep ravine with incredible force, creating a powerful spectacle. On a fine day, you may also be able to see in a distance the Langjökull Glacier, the second largest glacier in Iceland. And then you will stop to the Glacier Geothermal area, the place where the word glacier originates. Here you will have some time to admire the powerful force of Strokr, an explosive geyser which sprouts a high column of boiling water every few minutes. Your final stop will be a visit to the Blue Lagoon, a mesmerizing pool of pure, mineral-rich geothermal seawater located in the middle of a lava field. After spending time in Reykjavik, it's time for Ambassador Ambition to make way to the next port of call, Ísafjörður. Today, 13th of May, our Ambassador Ambition arrives in Isafjordar. The settlement of Isafjordar is one of the few large enough in the Icelandic West Fjords to be considered a town, with a population of under 3,000 people. It's an ancient church site and has been a trading post since at least the 16th century, although a real town did not start to form until after mid-19th century. The growth of the town was triggered by salt fish production, and ever since then, the fishing industry has been vital for the community. Isafjordar is the hub of culture and education in the West Fjords, and the peninsula's biggest airport is located in town. It's a town rich in history, culture, and gorgeous nature. Whale watching is an exciting experience, and the knowledgeable boat crew will point out any sightings. Humpback and minke whales are the most frequent visitors. Next journey, you will visit Dinjanif Waterfall, the jewel of the West Fjords. Located in the beautiful Anafjordar and standing approximately 100 meters tall, this magnificent waterfall is the biggest and the most majestic icon of the West Fjords, cascading down the mountainside and spreading out like a beautiful bridal veil. The water that feeds the journey originates from Ejavatan Lake in the Glomma Moors, once home to the now extinct Glomma Glacier. After spending time in Isafjordar, it's time for Ambassador Ambition to make way to the next port of call, Akureyri. Today, 14th of May, our Ambassador Ambition arrives in Akureyri. Akureyri is situated in the northeast Iceland, in one of the longest fjords in the country, and is surrounded by mountains reaching a height of 1,000 to 1,500 meters. The Arctic Circle is only 60 kilometers north of Akureyri, with a beautiful harbor, botanical gardens, and magnificent church on the hill. It is no wonder known as the heart of the north. Your journey will begin to take you through the fertile farmland and alongside Lake Mývatn, one of Iceland's natural treasures. The lake is home to tens of thousands of birds, among them a variety of duck species, and also you have to visit the Skutstadil pseudo craters. These craters were formed by gas explosions when boiling lava flowed over the surrounding wetlands. Taking a walk through this protected conservation area, you will see why this is a popular site for bird watchers. Your journey continues to Dimmuborgir. Here your guide will lead you on a walk through the dramatic lava landscape, dotted with strange formations, columns and arches that have been the source of many folk tales in Iceland. Next stop will bring you to the Namaskard, a striking geothermal field full of mud ports, steam vents, sulfur deposits, boiling springs, and fumaroles. Keeping to the pathways and wooden boardwalks, you can admire the incredible colors, the steam rising from the earth, and the bursting of air bubbles in the mud pots. You will be made to view Godafoss waterfall, or waterfall of the gods. The name refers to an important historical event that took place in the year 1000 when Iceland officially became a Christian nation. And then you will visit to Lofa's Folk Museum for an insight into how people once lived in this area of Iceland. There has been a tough house at the site of Lofa's for over 1,000 years. Lofa's has been rebuilt many times over the centuries in many different styles. The homes you see on the site today were built between 1866 and 1870, although parts date back to 1840. Your guide will show you inside each home, furnished with items from around the year 1900, and the church built around 1865 with a pulpit from the late 17th century. Your final stop will be a visit to the Botanical Gardens, founded in 1912, with examples of every species indigenous to Iceland alongside an extensive collection of high latitude and high altitude plants from around the world. During our sail away, our officers battle it out for the best cocktail demonstration. Today, 15th of May, Ambassador Ambition arrives in Seyðisfjörður. Seyðisfjörður is a small town in the East Fjords of Iceland, which boasts one of the best natural harbors in the country. It's located at the end of the fjord of the same name and is surrounded by mountains on three sides. The long, calm, deep fjord of Seyðisfjordar twists and turns 17 kilometers from its mouth to the heads of the fjord. Departing from the pier, your journey will begin with a drive over at Fajarheidi mountain pass, where you will make a short stop at a viewpoint overlooking Seyðisfjordar, boasting one of the best natural harbors in the country. Your next stop will be at Snæfellsstofa, the visitor center of the area covering east side of Vatnajökull National Park. Here you will have time to enjoy the interesting exhibition about the area and the surrounding nature and browse the gift shop for a souvenir of your visit. During your visit, you may also like to take a stroll down to Skriðukastur, an unusual structure of basalt blocks with white cements and the former home of one of Iceland's greatest writers, Gunnar Gunnarsson. Today, the building acts as a residence for artists and writers, both Icelandic and foreign. After spending time in Seyðisfjordar, it's time for Ambassador Ambition to make way to our home port of call, Liverpool. We celebrate the last night of the cruise with our baked Alaska, where our chefs parade the dessert around the restaurant in tradition. We also celebrate the end of our final show with our crew walk down, allowing you, our guests, to say thank you and goodbye to every department on the ship.